The day at Sterling Media began with a buzz of activity. In the sleek, glass-paneled lobby, employees hurried along polished corridors. Amaka walked confidently toward the boardroom, her heart pounding with excitement. Today, her promotion would be announced, a moment she had worked for years. Yet, deep down, a secret longing stirred within her, a desire she had hidden away for so long. Every seat was filled with senior managers and decision-makers inside the spacious boardroom. The room was quiet as the meeting began, and a large screen displayed the company's new strategic plan. Amaka sat near the middle, her eyes fixed on the presentation. Her mentor, Mr. Williams, offered her an encouraging smile, and for a moment, she allowed herself to feel proud. Then the doors swung open, and the room fell silent. A tall, confident man entered, dressed in a perfectly tailored navy blue suit. It was Tunde, the man Amaka had once secretly admired from afar during his internship days. As Tunde took his place at the head of the table, his cool, steady gaze swept across the room and locked with Amaka's. In that instant, time seemed to slow. The boardroom buzz faded into the background, and every eye was drawn to the unexpected spark between them. Tunde began outlining his bold vision for the company. His voice was calm and powerful as he spoke of digital innovation and creative storytelling. While colleagues listened with awe, Amaka's mind raced with conflicting emotions. Each word he uttered was a reminder of the man she had once dreamed of, and now, he was her new boss. Outside the boardroom, whispers filled the hallways. "Did you see how he looked at her?" someone murmured. "I heard he never forgets a face," another added. The gossip confirmed Amaka's secret hope that Tunde might have remembered her, even if only for a moment. Throughout the day, Amaka struggled to balance the joy of her promotion with the unexpected tension building inside her. Every interaction with Tunde, every lingering glance and subtle nod, felt charged with personal meaning. Yet she focused on her work, determined to prove herself worthy of the trust placed in her. By the end of the day, as the office began to empty and the lights dimmed, Amaka sat at her desk, her mind swirling with thoughts of what had transpired. Tunde's confident and enigmatic image was etched into her memory. The blinking cursor on her computer screen seemed to challenge her. How would she navigate this new, dangerous territory where ambition and desire collided? The day after the boardroom meeting, Sterling Media's corridors buzzed with whispers and sideways glances. In every corner, employees discussed the dramatic arrival of the new CEO. "Did you see how Tunde looked at Amaka?" Amid the office gossip, Amaka moved quietly through the halls, determined to focus on her work, yet her heart still raced from yesterday's unexpected connection. At her desk, Amaka tried to bury her inner turmoil under spreadsheets and emails. But every time her eyes met those of a passing colleague, she sensed that the entire office was aware of something unspoken between her and Tunde. The tension was thick, a silent current that pulsed through the workday. Later that morning, Mr. Williams, her trusted mentor, stopped by her cubicle. "Amaka, congratulations on your promotion," he said warmly. Then, with a smile, he added, "I've just heard that Tunde has personally selected you to lead an important new project." His words were both a compliment and a challenge, and they sent a thrill of excitement through her. The project promised high stakes and demanded close collaboration with Tunde himself, a situation that filled Amaka with both hope and anxiety. In a brief meeting with Tunde that afternoon, the air was charged with subtle signals. As Tunde outlined the project's goals, his eyes occasionally found hers. Each glance, though fleeting, was heavy with promise. The conversation was professional at first, filled with discussions about budgets and timelines. Yet, beneath that formal surface, an unspoken connection grew stronger. When Tunde complimented Amaka's previous work, his tone was sincere, almost personal. That small moment of warmth made her heart leap and her thoughts wander to what might be if boundaries were to blur. Throughout the day, office politics played their part. Colleagues whispered in passing and exchanged knowing looks. Some envied Amaka's sudden rise, while others speculated about the nature of her interactions with the new CEO. As the workday wound down, Amaka sat back and reflected on the unfolding drama. The sparks between her and Tunde were undeniable, yet the stakes were high. Balancing career ambition with forbidden desire was proving to be a delicate dance. As the clock edged past midnight at Sterling Media, Amaka remained at her desk, poring over campaign details with intense focus. In the dim light of her monitor, Amaka's thoughts wandered back to the meeting and the lingering look from Tunde. She tried to push those thoughts aside and concentrate on the project, but her heart beat a little too fast each time she remembered his smile. The silence of the office was suddenly broken by the sound of footsteps echoing in the hallway. Amaka looked up, and there, emerging from the shadows, was Tunde. His presence, calm yet magnetic, seemed to light up the dark corridor. Without a word, Tunde approached her workstation. His eyes met hers, and for a few seconds, time seemed to slow. He asked quietly about her progress on the project, and his tone was both professional and caring. As they reviewed the campaign details together, the formalities of their roles began to melt away. Their conversation grew warmer, and soon they found themselves sharing more than just work-related ideas. Tunde spoke of his own challenges as CEO and the pressure of leading a company, while Amaka revealed the dreams that had driven her to succeed. The late-night quiet provided a private haven where both could express hidden thoughts. With every shared smile and lingering glance, the distance between them shrunk. Tunde's hand brushed against Amaka's as he pointed at a detail on her document, sending a jolt of electricity through her. In that small touch, the intensity of unspoken feelings became undeniable. The glow from the computer screens mingled with the soft ambient light, casting long shadows on the walls, as if the room itself was witnessing their budding connection. Yet, even as they edged closer to an emotional threshold, the reality of their positions loomed large. Tunde's voice, when he finally spoke again, was measured and cautious. "We have to stay focused on the project," he reminded her. Amaka nodded, her expression a mixture of determination and vulnerability. Both knew that the moment was dangerous, professional boundaries were at risk, but the spark between them was too strong to ignore. As Tunde prepared to leave, he offered a gentle smile and a promise to continue their discussion the next day. Left alone once more, Amaka's heart throbbed with both excitement and uncertainty. The day after the late-night work session, Sterling Media's corridors hummed with employees gathered whispering of rumors about the mysterious closeness between the new CEO and the rising strategist. The murmurs, although subtle, filled the air with a palpable tension that made Amaka's heart both flutter and ache. At her desk, Amaka tried to concentrate on her work, but the atmosphere was too charged. Later in the day, Mr. Williams, the trusted mentor, stopped by Amaka's cubicle with a quiet congratulatory smile. "I've just learned that Tunde has personally selected you to lead a major new project," he said. His words, while congratulatory, also carried the weight of challenge. The project was high stakes and required close collaboration with Tunde. This news both thrilled and frightened Amaka. It meant more time working with him, and every moment would be charged with the risk of crossing professional lines. Yet, it also offered her a chance to prove her worth on a larger stage. As the afternoon wore on, the buzz of office gossip grew louder. In hushed tones over lunch, employees speculated about the nature of Amaka's connection with Tunde. Some were envious of her rapid rise, while others admired her resilience. For Amaka, every conversation became a reminder that her private feelings were on the verge of becoming public knowledge. Despite the scrutiny, her determination never wavered. She focused on the project details, meticulously preparing for what lay ahead, even as her mind replayed every charged moment from yesterday. The night of the company gala had arrived like a burst of color and excitement. Sterling Media's grand ballroom was filled with chatter, laughter, and the soft hum of live music. Guests in their finest attire mingled under shimmering lights that cast a warm glow on every corner. Amid this festive atmosphere, Amaka stepped into the hall, her heart pounding with both pride and a quiet, secret anticipation. Tonight, she would not only celebrate her promotion but also face the man who had long occupied her hidden dreams. Across the room, Tunde appeared a vision of calm authority in a perfectly tailored suit. His confident stride and composed demeanor drew admiring glances from every guest. But for Amaka, it was his eyes that mattered most. As he walked by her table, their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, the noise of the gala seemed to fade away. The moment he extended his hand as an invitation to dance, Amaka's heart raced. She rose, accepting his hand with both hope and trepidation. They moved together to a corner of the ballroom while Tunde's hand rested gently on her waist, and his other hand brushed her cheek, a touch so delicate it spoke of deep unspoken feelings. In that intimate space, time slowed, and every step, every whispered smile, felt like a promise of what might be. Yet, professional boundaries hovered like a fragile barrier between them, adding a dangerous thrill to every movement. For a few precious minutes, the dance was pure magic, a moment where the weight of the corporate world melted away, leaving behind only the spark of desire. Colleagues watching from afar exchanged secretive smiles, while the soft strains of music carried the tension and hope of the forbidden connection. However, just as the closeness grew too intense, a sudden interruption, an unexpected server weaving through the crowd with a tray of drinks and broke the spell. Tunde's hand retreated slowly, and his eyes flashed with both regret and determination. As the music resumed its rhythm for others, the memory of that almost kiss lingered in the air. The gala continued, but Amaka's heart remained divided between duty and desire, knowing that the dance had set the stage for challenges yet to come. The next workday at Sterling Media began with a strange mix of tension and normalcy. Amaka arrived early, determined to focus on the high-stakes project Tunde had assigned her. Yet, every time she glanced at her computer screen, she couldn't help but remember the warmth of his hand on hers during the gala. In the quiet hum of the office, her heart still raced with that forbidden memory. Later that evening, as deadlines loomed, Amaka found herself working late once again. The office was nearly empty, save for a few dedicated souls. In the soft glow of desk lamps and the occasional sound of a printer, Tunde reappeared. He walked with purposeful calm down the hallway until he stopped at her cubicle. His presence instantly filled the small space with an intense energy that made Amaka's pulse quicken. "Amaka," Tunde said in a low, measured tone, "I need your input on the final draft of the campaign. There are some details I'd like to discuss." His voice, usually so formal, now carried an unmistakable hint of something more personal. Their discussion quickly shifted from numbers and deadlines to creative ideas and personal insights. The conversation deepened, and so did the unspoken connection between them. Every time Tunde leaned in to point at a detail on the document, Amaka felt the electricity of his nearness. His eyes, sincere yet searching, held hers longer than necessary. Suddenly, a tense silence fell over them. In that charged moment, words became unnecessary as their faces inched closer. Tunde's hand reached out, trembling slightly, and brushed against Amaka's as he tried to calm his rising emotions. The touch was gentle but carried the weight of every secret longing that had built up over time. The air around them grew thick with the tension of blurred boundaries, professional and personal, merging in one forbidden moment. But just as the intensity reached its peak, Tunde abruptly pulled back, his eyes clouded with a mix of regret and duty. "We can't," he whispered, his voice hoarse. The words trailed off as he cleared his throat and focused on the documents in front of them. The fragile intimacy vanished, leaving only a heavy silence that spoke of unfulfilled desires. Sterling Media announced a weekend retreat for a major client, and both Tunde and Amaka were selected to attend. On the first day of the retreat, as the group gathered for team-building activities, Amaka and Tunde found themselves sitting together on a veranda overlooking a sparkling pool. The sun shone brightly, and a gentle breeze played with the leaves of nearby trees, but underneath the calm exterior, the tension between them simmered. They exchanged polite conversation about the project and the future of Sterling Media, but every now and then, their eyes met, sending silent messages of longing and uncertainty. As the day turned into evening, the resort hosted a dinner under the stars. The dining area was decorated with soft lights lending a warm, inviting glow to the night. After the meal, guests moved to a lounge area where soft music filled the air. The retreat's relaxed atmosphere gave way to more personal conversations. Tunde and Amaka found themselves alone for a while in a quiet corner of the lounge. With the soft music in the background and the gentle clink of glasses around them, Tunde's voice dropped to a rare, vulnerable tone. "You know," he began quietly, "this retreat has given me time to think about everything. Not just work, but life, and what really matters." His eyes, usually so controlled, softened as he looked at Amaka. For a moment, the professional mask slipped away, revealing a man who carried his own hidden burdens and dreams. Amaka listened intently, her heart pounding. The conversation shifted slowly from general ideas to personal stories. Tunde spoke of the pressures of leading a company, the isolation he sometimes felt, and the dreams he once had before responsibility weighed him down. Amaka, in turn, shared her journey, the struggles to prove herself, the sacrifices she made, and the secret hope that had grown inside her. Their words bridged the gap between boss and subordinate, connecting them in a way that felt both forbidden and inevitable. Just as the night grew deeper, a sudden downpour forced everyone to rush back indoors. Trapped together in a small, cozy lounge, the space grew even more intimate. The sound of rain on the roof mixed with soft laughter and hushed voices. In that confined setting, the unspoken attraction between them flared to life. For a few charged moments, their faces drew close, and a hint of a smile passed between them. Yet, as quickly as the moment came, a ringing phone pulled them apart, interrupting the intimacy and reminding them of the responsibilities waiting outside. Amid the rain and flickering lights, the retreat became a crucible where both Tunde and Amaka faced their deepest desires and fears. The weekend promised more than just professional insights. It hinted at a future where their connection might blur the lines between duty and passion, leaving both to wonder what they were truly willing to risk. Back at Sterling Media, the office buzzed with renewed energy after the weekend retreat. Whispers traveled along the corridors about lingering glances and hushed conversations between Tunde and Amaka. The rumors grew faster than anyone could ignore. One morning, a young colleague, Kelechi, known for his charm and playful banter, was seen laughing with Amaka on her desk. Kelechi's friendly compliments and casual flirtations sparked envy in Tunde, who had always been careful with his emotions. Observers noticed that Tunde wasn't pleased after walking in on them. His eyes darkened at the sight, his jaw tightening as if trying to hide a burning jealousy. Later that day, in a team meeting, the tension rose to a boiling point. The meeting room, usually filled with polite discussion, became a stage for unspoken rivalry. Tunde, presenting a new marketing strategy, occasionally glanced at Amaka, who was taking notes intently. When Kelechi raised his hand to comment on a point, Tunde's response was sharp and dismissive, a cold remark that made the entire room fall silent. The colleagues exchanged furtive glances, wondering if the dismissal was meant for Kelechi or as a warning to Amaka. After the meeting, as the staff filed out, whispers filled the air. "Did you see Tunde's reaction?" one person asked. "Something is not right," another replied. Amaka, feeling the weight of these murmurs, retreated to her desk. Her heart pounded as she tried to piece together the day's events. She was proud of her work, but the scandalous rumors had begun to cast shadows on her reputation. That evening, during a casual after-work gathering at a nearby cafe, the tension escalated further. Over cups of strong tea, a colleague boldly asked Amaka about her recent interactions with both Tunde and Kelechi. The conversation turned from playful to serious as people speculated about office romance. Amaka felt trapped, her secret was no longer safe, and every word spoken was like a spark in dry tinder. The next morning, an email from Human Resources made the scandal official. Anonymous complaints about inappropriate behavior were circulating, and office gossip now had consequences. Tunde called Amaka into his office. His usually calm expression was replaced with a mix of anger and hurt. "Amaka," he said in a low voice, "we need to talk about what everyone is saying." His words were measured, but the disappointment in his eyes cut deeply. Amaka's face flushed with shock and regret. She tried to explain, but the room filled with the heavy silence of unspoken accusations. The scandal had struck at the heart of the company, and now, both their careers and personal futures hung in the balance. In that tense moment, the observer in the office could feel that a turning point had arrived, a storm of jealousy and scandal that threatened to change everything. The tension in Sterling Media reached a breaking point one cloudy afternoon. In an empty conference room with large windows overlooking the city, Amaka sat across from Tunde. The room was silent except for the distant hum of traffic and the occasional creak of the building settling. Both had been avoiding this conversation, but now, the weight of office scandal and unspoken emotions could no longer be ignored. Amaka's eyes glistened with a mix of anger and hurt as she began, "Tunde, I need to know, what do you really think of us? Of me?" Her voice trembled with the fear of rejection and the hope that he might understand her heart. Tunde's gaze dropped for a moment, then slowly lifted. His expression was conflicted. There was remorse, longing, and a trace of something even deeper that he struggled to voice. "I never meant for any of this to happen," Tunde replied softly. "I have always admired you, but I was bound by my responsibilities." Amaka listened, her eyes burning with a mix of determination and despair. "I know," she replied softly, "but how can I simply turn off what I feel? My heart is with you, Tunde." Her voice wavered, revealing the vulnerability behind her steely exterior. For a long, silent moment, they weighed the impossible choice. The room felt as though it were closing in, the walls pressing down with the gravity of their decision. Tunde leaned forward, his gaze intense and searching. "I have spent years fighting to keep our professional lives intact, but I can no longer ignore what we have. Yet, if we cross the line openly, the company, our careers, they may all come crashing down. I'm caught between the promise of love and the burden of responsibility." His voice broke slightly, the internal struggle evident in the pause before he spoke again. "You must decide, Amaka, do you want to risk everything for us, or do we keep our secret safe, even if it means sacrificing what we truly want?" Her heart pounded as she gathered her thoughts. "I have dreamed of this for so long," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I want us, Tunde. But not at the cost of my career, and not if it means we lose our integrity. We must find a way to be together while protecting what we've built." Tunde's eyes softened with both relief and lingering uncertainty. The room fell silent once more, the final decision hanging in the air. The two knew that no matter what path they chose, it would change them forever. After the difficult decision in the private meeting room, the office of Sterling Media was never quite the same. The scandal had erupted into full view, and whispers of the forbidden romance and risky choices spread like wildfire. Tunde and Amaka now faced the challenge of mending both their professional reputations and their personal relationship. The once familiar hallways felt heavy with judgment, and every glance from a coworker carried a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and caution. In the days that followed, the atmosphere in the office was tense. Tunde, ever the composed leader, held meetings with a controlled demeanor, yet behind his steady eyes lay a deep worry. Every time he passed by Amaka's desk, he exchanged a brief, reassuring nod, silently promising that they would weather this storm. Meanwhile, Amaka worked tirelessly to prove her worth, pouring every ounce of her energy into rebuilding trust with her team. In quiet moments, she'd catch snippets of conversation, some supportive, others skeptical, but gradually, the tide began to shift. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low and cast long shadows across the polished floors, Amaka was called into a meeting with a group of senior staff. The room was filled with tension, but also with a tentative hope that the scandal might soon become just another office rumor. Mr. Williams, who had always been a steady source of guidance, spoke first. "We have all seen what has happened, and it has shaken our team," he said. "But sometimes, challenges force us to grow stronger." His measured words provided a small balm to the wounded pride of many. Tunde followed, addressing the room with quiet authority. I believe in our team and the power of transparency. We have learned from our mistakes, and now it is time to rebuild trust and move forward together. His voice carried a hint of vulnerability that made even the sternest critics pause. As he spoke, Amaka felt a cautious warmth bloom inside her, a reminder that the path to redemption was paved with honesty and effort. In the following weeks, both Tunde and Amaka worked side by side to launch a new project that symbolized their commitment to change. The project meetings were open, and they made a concerted effort to involve every team member in the decision-making process. Slowly, the office began to heal. Colleagues who had once whispered behind closed doors started to smile and nod in approval as they saw the tangible results of the duo's efforts. There were setbacks, of course, moments when old doubts threatened to resurface, but each challenge was met with a determination that proved their willingness to learn from the past. Late one evening, as the office emptied and only a few lights remained, Tunde and Amaka found themselves alone in the office, reviewing the final details of the project. The room was quiet except for the soft sound of their collaborative brainstorming. In that space, the scars of scandal were slowly replaced by mutual respect and trust. Their shared glances carried a new meaning, one that spoke of resilience and the promise of a better future. In the months following, the office at Sterling Media had slowly transformed from a battleground of whispers and scandal into a place of cautious hope. The entire team gathered in the newly renovated conference room for the launch of their most ambitious project yet. The project, symbolizing both creative renewal and the power of unity, was a testament to the team's resilience. Tunde, now more open and vulnerable in his leadership, spoke with sincere conviction about the future. "We have learned, we have grown, and together we can create something extraordinary," he declared, his eyes searching the room for shared hope. Amaka sat near him, her presence a quiet pillar of strength. As she listened, her heart swelled with determination. The office, once filled with hushed rumors and unspoken tension, now buzzed with energy and collaboration. Colleagues shared ideas openly, and smiles replaced wary glances. The atmosphere was electric, a blend of professional ambition and personal triumph. Later that afternoon, after a particularly inspiring meeting, Tunde and Amaka stepped out onto the balcony overlooking the bustling cityscape. The warm glow of the setting sun bathed the skyline in golden hues. In that quiet moment, Tunde reached out and gently took Amaka's hand. "I believe we can face whatever comes next," he said softly. His words carried both the promise of love and the weight of responsibility. Amaka smiled, her eyes reflecting both hope and cautious optimism. "I do too," she replied. "We've come a long way. And no matter what happens, we will write our own story." Their hands remained intertwined, a symbol of unity in a world that was ever-changing. Their new beginning was a delicate balance of love and career, a promise that even in the face of challenges, they would stand together. And somewhere, in the quiet shadows of the city, an unspoken question lingered: what new adventures and dangers would tomorrow bring?